This was my first time voting in Canada, and this experience was something special, because I never took part in such an indeterministic democratic election.
The numbers are coming in, but we still have some really close races. We still don't know for sure all of the MPs yet.
This election taught a few things about Canadians. I moved to Canada in 2019 from Russia and only became eligible to vote in 2023 when I got my Canadian citizenship. I remember the 2022 provincial elections and 2021 federal elections, and all of them were quite different from what we have today. For one, this election turnout is the highest since 2015, with 68% of eligible Canadians showing up to vote.
Where we come from, elections feel predefined. Well, after all, Russia has had the same president for 22 years. So you don't really get that feeling of uncertainty and excitement when elections come. But in this election, we actually felt the sense of change to look forward to. Just a bit over a week ago, we were undecided voters. We saw a lot of heated debate between different sides and a lot of discontent and, most importantly, passion about the future of this country and the people who might end up leading it. So we decided to do our homework and researched each candidate.
And that research inspired us to make two videos, one on Pierre Poilievre and one on Mark Carney, to better understand who these people actually are, what they've done and what they stand for.
We didn't set out to convince anyone of anything. It was more of a social experiment to see what would happen if we actually did the research ourselves and shared it with others.
And what happened was fascinating.
Even throughout the editing process, we were still kind of undecided, trying to figure out what made most sense for us, just like everybody else.
But once the videos were out, the comment sections turned into a full-fledged political arena, filled with passion, conviction, and a healthy dose of skepticism towards everyone.
And that's where something really clicked for me. Canadians aren't as complacent, they care. And they care a lot.
They question authority and they question each other. They aren't afraid to push back and debate and demand better, even if they don't agree on what better looks like.
Some people praised their research. Some thought that the videos were biased. A small percentage accused us of being liberal operatives or Russian agents. Or maybe even both, if that's even a thing.
For the record, we are not.
We're just two immigrants with a camera and a curiosity, trying to make sense of the country we choose to call home.
Visit Canada, land of beauty and home to countless vanishing wonders. Affordable housing, the green belt, the news, honest prices, honesty in general, and of course, trees that aren't on fucking fire.
Look, the last 10 years in Canada haven't been exactly smooth sailing. There's been a lot of promises and a lot of disappointments, especially around housing, affordability, immigration, and overall trust in the government.
It's no surprise that people are frustrated, and for many this election felt like a turning point.
Whether or not it will be, time will tell. But what we want to do in this video is share a couple of observations as someone who wants a brighter future for this country.
We've collected and analyzed all the comments under both videos, and we ran sentiment and thematic analysis trying to figure out what people care about the most.
When we looked at the top-level comments in both videos, a few patterns stood out. First of all, most people weren't extreme, which isn't how it feels like when you browse online on social media. All of these people were just trying to make sense of it all.
More than half of all people were fairly neutral, asking honest questions and seeking clarity.
Each video, of course, attracted some loyal fans and also extreme opposition of each candidate. And this can easily be seen through some of the most upvoted and most replied to comments.
There were spicy takes and full-on political rants.
And this is awesome because people care. They're engaged. They're actually paying attention. Because the opposite of polarization isn't agreement, it's complacency. And no one benefits from that.
Roughly 5% of the comments said that we were harder on one candidate than the other. I absolutely loved that. Not because they felt it was biased, after all, everyone is biased, it's just human, but more because people are so attuned to what we are saying, and the audience is not blindly taking in the information, they scrutinize it, and that gives us hope for the future.
Bias isn't always about intention, it's about perception. Everyone brings their own lens. I've always believed that if someone is trying to convince me that they're unbiased, that's what gets me really suspicious in the first place.
And if anything, our biggest bias is probably skepticism. especially toward politicians in general.
And for those of you wondering who we voted for, we voted differently in this election because our political views are different.
Another thing I've learned from this experience is that attention can maybe predict election outcomes.
We published both videos simultaneously, and Mark Carney consistently led in views. In fact, Carney's video got more views, about 20% more. Looking at the demographics of our viewers, Poilievre's video attracted a younger, more male audience. Carney's video drew a better gender balance and a much older demographic.
And that's not just a YouTube thing. You might be tempted to say, well, your channel is skewed. And it's true. Our channel was initially started to share our immigration experience, though eventually it evolved into telling broad stories about Canada, attracting a more Canadian and surprisingly American audience recently.
But there's one thing that I would like to highlight in this specific graph, because it reflects a broader truth about Canada. The country is aging. And that's how our age demographic curve looks like. Hey guys, take a look at this. This is how many people who are eligible to vote actually show up in the federal elections. So what's curious is that the age group of 18 to 24 years old has the lowest participation. And it's a pretty big deal. I'll tell you why in a second. See, as you grow older towards the 65 and plus, the more people come out to vote. The voter turnout is the highest for retirees. It's the retirees and the older people who get to decide the future of Canada. They make decisions based on what they care about a lot, and it could be a higher pension, higher real estate values because they want to sell it and get a lot more money for retirement. This summer we had a youth employment crisis, and everybody was really happy to blame immigration, the government, and all of that. But I think what we fail to realize is that it's the younger generations in the first place that have failed to come out and vote routinely over the decades. They're the ones who have abandoned their vote and let the older people decide what the country should look like. And this makes voter turnout, especially among younger Canadians, even more important. We have yet to see detailed voter turnouts for this election, but we already know that we broke the record for advanced voting turnout with over 7 million people showing up to vote.
When we show up to vote, we're doing more than just ticking a box. We're making a statement about the kind of country we want to live in. It's easy to brush it off and say, well, my vote doesn't matter, and go on with your day. But for many of us who come from places where democracy is just a word on paper, where outcomes are often predetermined and inconvenient voices are silenced, the privilege to vote freely and have it actually count is something we don't take for granted.
Every vote here matters, and we saw that in some ridings where there was literally just a dozen of votes that decided which party gets to win. That's incredible. And it's also what makes this process exciting.
This country gives us a voice, so let's use it, because the alternative isn't pretty.
Corruption breeds from complacency. It starts when no one is looking, and it gets stronger when no one speaks up. When people stop paying attention, small abuses become big ones. Freedoms shrink, and by the time people realize what's happening, it's often too late. Democracy isn't just about voting every 3 years. It's about staying awake. It's staying involved regularly and keeping the people in power accountable, even when it's uncomfortable.
It can also be uncomfortable to hear opinions that we disagree with.
It oftentimes feels like the comment sections and the social media in general is treated like battlegrounds, not like classroom or conversation rooms. And the goal for us often isn't just to listen and understand, or even to have a conversation. It's often to win, or score points, or win an argument and signal allegiance to a certain side or belief. I know it can be fun to entertain juicy rumors or hypotheticals, but it's actually as fun, if not more, to find truth in opposing arguments and find common ground.
Now that elections are over, I see people forming several camps.
When the results came in, we saw 5 kinds of reactions in our circle.
Camp number 1 says, I'm done with this country and started planning a move. A recent survey revealed that 28% of conservative millionaires are now more inclined to emigrate compared to their sentiments after the 2021 election.
Camp 2 stays but vents hard. And frequently they link personal and national challenges to the government. While their concerns are valid, they tend to focus more on criticism rather than proactive solutions and bettering their lives.
Camp 3 is adapting, looking for how to make the best of it, no matter the outcome. Much like a skilled sailor adjusting sails to the wind, they navigate changes to continue progressing toward their goals.
Another camp are the supporters of the winning party who are naturally pumped or relieved. This group is optimistic and will actively engage with new policies and initiatives.
And the last camp are conditional loyalists. They're happy now, they're happy to rub it in your face, that's how happy they are, but they give the current government a few strikes before they flip.
Which camp do you think you belong to? Or do you recognize your friends and family in any of these camps? Let us know in the comments below.
There is no right or wrong reaction to the election outcome. They're all just different ways of processing change.
But among these camps, the third one, adaptable navigators, often find themselves best positions to thrive in the long run. They do it by focusing on flexibility and resilience. They can weather political shifts without significant disruption to their personal or professional lives.
And in times of change, adaptability isn't just beneficial, it's essential. By staying informed, open-minded, and proactive, we can all contribute to a more resilient and united Canada, all together.
For us, this election wasn't about picking one side. It was about choosing to care, choosing to participate.
Canada isn't perfect, no place is.
But we believe it's worth paying attention to and worth shaping even in the smallest ways.
So thank you everyone who watched, commented, debated, and even criticized. You helped turn this into something meaningful.
And if you're watching this and feeling like nothing changes, just remember, real change doesn't start at the top. It starts with each and one of us showing up, paying attention, and speaking up.
So let's keep doing that, together.